Ohaneze Ndigbo. Please, any Igbo man that wants to run for presidency, go ahead and run.
So guys, the Tinubu's government keeps dividing Nigeria. Never in the history of this country had Ohaneze Ndigbo been divided. Not until now that Tinubu is trying to come back again second term. A faction of Ohaneze is saying that no Igbo man, no Igbo woman is allowed to run for presidency in 2027. So guys, I'm just wondering if we even have Ohaneze. Do we have any leadership in Ohaneze? These are people that cannot speak up for their people. They only come out when it has to do with politics. Have you seen how these elders are just selling their respects? You know, are they supposed to come out to tell Ndigbo who to vote and who not to vote? You see, that is why people are saying that the whole system has been compromised. You know, we've seen all kinds of insecurity in the Southeast. Nobody comes out to talk about it. But when it gets to politics, now you know there is something called Ohaneze Ndigbo. You know, they will come out. You have seen the Northerners coming out to say the North is hungry, the North is hungry, that Tinubu is not giving the Northerners their own share of, you know, his appointments. They've been speaking for their people. Have you seen any Igbo man or any Ohaneze Ndigbo coming out to speak for the people of the Southeast? But now it has to do with politics. They are now coming to dictate to Ndigbo whether they are to vote for an Igbo man or not. Now, a faction of Ohaneze Ndigbo has come out to say that no Igbo man is allowed to run, as in to contest against Tinubu in 2027. So guys, we have never seen it this bad. I mean, we have never seen it this bad, not until now that Tinubu wants to run for second term. It is because of Tinubu that we have glitches. It started during the 2023 presidential election. We now ended up seeing glitches happening in WAEC, happening in JAMB and all that. And now, groups that are meant to defend their people are now coming to use their people for politics. It has never been this bad. I'm just going to allow you to listen to how Rufai has come out boldly to blast whoever is making this statement, saying no Igbo man is allowed to contest or run against Tinubu in 2027. Just take your time and watch this video, and this tells you how they are panicking because of Peter Obi. I mean, Peter Obi remains their nightmare. Peter Obi is a threat to them. For them to come out and say no Igbo man, who else are they pointing finger to against? Is Peter Obi. That Peter Obi should dare not contest against the Tinubu's desire or ambition to run for 2027 presidential election. Anyway, just take your time and see how Arise crew members have, dissected this headline, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Now take a look.
In other stories, Igbo socio-cultural group Ohaneze Ndigbo has announced that no Igbo man will contest for the presidency in 2027 against the incumbent president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The group says that the possibility of the Southeast producing the president of Nigeria can only be achieved in 2035, not 2027. In a statement signed by the Deputy President General of the Ohaneze Ndigbo faction, Okechukwu Isiguzoro, and the national spokesman, Thompson Ohia, they revealed that the decision was taken at a crucial meeting with Southeast political leaders, in which they resolved that no Igbo man will contest presidency in 2027, signaling the rejection of a one-term bid. They insist that the most practicable political vehicle for the pursuit of the Igbo presidency lies within the All Progressives Congress in 2035 if the zoning formula is altered, saying that among notable Igbo sons, the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, stands out as the most outstanding candidate to lead the country.
Okay, so that I don't forget, because we have about 6 stories. But let me first start with Ohaneze Ndigbo. Please, any Igbo man that wants to run for presidency, go ahead and run. Do not listen to Ohaneze Ndigbo. It is clear, it is certain that socio-political groups are fast losing their relevance. We had our own tiff between factions of Afenifere on who to endorse in the last elections. Till today, that tiff is still on, although some of them say they are trying to reconcile. Socio-political groups cannot hold the ace of anybody's ambition. The analogy that the surest path to presidency will be waiting till 2035 is their own agenda. And you have seen clearly They put somebody, mention the name in their own agenda, which is Umahi. So that's the Ohaneze Ndigbo's Umahi's agenda. It's different from the free rights you have as enshrined in the Constitution. No socio-political group can tell you your faith. That's just it. But I'm not surprised. A women's wing of Ohaneze, I think, tilted towards Atiku in the last election. Professor George Obi, when he was alive then, tilted towards Obi. So the truth is, no socio-political group, they are just like another pressure group. And what pressure groups do is, they come out of their pressure cooker and talk. It doesn't mean it's a generality. I just have to set that straight. Secondly, about Atiku Abubakar, yes, he has a right to run. Everybody will compete effectively in the field, and we'll see who will emerge. Because there have been indications that he will not run, he should not run. I'm not going to stop anybody's right to run. But I'm also going to say some things this morning. Number one, we have to say it the way it is. If you have candidates in this coalition that can't come together because of their ambition, definitely it will fracture the coalition in such a way that it will make it an easier ticket for President Tinubu. So while all of them are jostling to have capacity, in the emergence of a particular candidate, it is in their best interest that they work together. If they don't work together, they make it easier. And that's just it. It shows from history, it's better to have a coalition of forces to fight against an incumbent. It's not today we've been doing it. In 1999, we did the same. Olufalaye and Marsh in Kafi, NPP, and what's it called, the Alliance for Democracy had to come together to fight the march of Olusegun Obasanjo. The APC also reprised that with the coalition of APGA and other political parties, and even some people out of the PDP coming together to be able to fight incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan then in 2015. It's better off that way because you have a better footing and you have a coalition of forces to pretty much do that. But in the case where there's an emergence of a candidate from the coalition and there's a division, it makes it easier for President Tinubu. And trust me, President Tinubu will not sit down and allow you come together. He doesn't even want it in the first place because he's a politician and he also wants to win. That's just my beat about that. The other point this morning will be that of the NBA conference. And it's apt. In fact, kudos to the NBA. Because the NBA conference holding in Enugu is an act of defiance in itself. We all know the story. They left Rivers, that was supposed to be the initial host, because of the state of emergency declared, which they have strong objections to. But the sad reality is that till date, that case have not been heard by the Supreme Court. Are we waiting till the end of the expiration of state of emergency before we now hear the case and say it's been overtaken by events? Because you see, if we don't hear the case, when we ask the questions of what happened to democracy in Nigeria, we will mention the courts. And I want those conversations about the state of emergency to also be brought up at this NBA conference. And why is the Supreme Court finding it difficult to be able to hear cases, especially when they are time-bound like that? When you see in this same Rivers case, there were other judgments that were speedily dispensed by the court, especially the local government issue, if you remember. Yeah. And as of today, the bone of contention by a lot of people leading up to this local government election on the 30th of August is the same 90 days clause at which those associated to Wike went to court last year. That's what some people are also proving now, but they are saying because there's a state of emergency and there's a suspension of the laws of the land in the state that they can go ahead and do the election. So you can see what one man complained about last year, today is no longer a problem for him. And when we point out this hypocrisy, people say, oh, why do you point out? But see, we have to point out hypocrisy. Because you know why? Hypocrisy is the homage that vice pays to virtue. Let's not forget that. Hypocrisy is the homage that vice pays to virtue. People that have vices also want to act like they are virtuous. And that's where they go the line of hypocrisy. I didn't say those words. Francois de la Rochefoucauld said those words many, many years ago. Kudos to Malema on what he said.
All right, Dr. Bati.
Okay, let me start with Julius Malema. NBA conference, stand tall, stand out, stand tall. now holding in Enugu after all that drama with the Rivers State government, over 300 million naira. Now the NBA conference started over the weekend in Enugu, the coast city, the historic city. First, congratulations to the Enugu State government and the governor, Dr. Peter Mba, for hosting the Nigerian Bar Association and for promising them that it will be a memorable experience. And I've seen evidence of that. If I don't have any further evidence, at least I can point to, what's this man from Kogi's name?
With the governor?
No.
Dino Melaye.
Dino Melaye, dancing with Afamos Igwe, SAN, you know, at an evening event and trying to compete. In other words, I say the guys are having a lot of fun. And then the attendance has been very high quality. So congratulations also to the NBA to have moved very quickly away from the 300 million thing around their neck to go from Port Harcourt to go to Enugu. And Afamos Igwe, you know, hosting this leading this very important event. As to the themes, the issues that will be talked about, they are very modern themes about AI, about inclusivity, about the future of the farm. What would the Nigerian law firm look like, you know, in the immediate future? But the main issue that we're talking about is first the presence of Julius Malema. Julius Malema, an important political figure, leader of the economic freedom fighters in South African Parliament, you know, was the keynote speaker at the event. And I think that some of the points that he made, aside the whatever drama others may attach to it, are very important. His point about, look, borrowing, that African leaders must just run away from borrowing. The same thing that we say on this platform almost on a daily basis. Two, he was calling for deeper economic cooperation between Nigeria and South Africa. And I think that as two of the largest economies in Africa, that is also a very good point that he made on that occasion. He decried xenophobia, something that is, you know, a sore point for many Nigerians because of the way Nigerians are treated in South Africa. So you have Julius Malema, leader of one of the major opposition parties in South Africa, telling us that xenophobia is not good. Africans should unite. Africans should solidarize. I think it was also on point in that particular regard. And then, of course, he talked about, or rather, he acknowledged Nigeria's historic role in the South African liberation process, something that the present generation of young South Africans, the Gen Z generation, don't even remember. And many Nigerians feel very bad that at the time the South Africans were fighting for their freedom from the clutches of apartheid, Nigeria was there for them. Nigeria stood tall for them. And so here we have Julius Malema, you know, coming to Nigeria and reminding us that, look, you are our brothers. And I think that this is about statesmanship. Julius Malema, if he was in the parliament in South Africa, he would probably be wearing a red jacket and be making trouble. But, you know, he came here to the NBA conference in Enugu and he spoke truth to power, particularly his commentary about the hypocrisy of international justice, something that we have seen very well most recently, and that we talk about all the time here, whether it's with regard to Ukraine and Russia, or with regard to Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, or the neglect of the politics of South Sudan. So Julius Malema is welcome to Nigeria, and he can enjoy himself as much as he wants because Nigerians are very hospitable people. I think he spoke well. And then the Sultan also spoke well. The Sultan was reminding the Nigerian Bar Association as a civil society group of its responsibility within that civic space, which is to promote unity, which is to promote social justice, which is to stand tall for justice by promoting access to justice for marginalized persons in this Nigerian community. And I think, the Sultan was very right in saying that NBA has a responsibility to break barriers in terms of access to social justice. To be fair, without being unnecessarily sycophantic. I think under Mekiawu, SAN, who was the former NBA president, and now Afam Osigwe, there's been an attempt to sustain a tradition and a reputation of the NBA fighting for social justice. Most recently, under Mekiawu fought for the review of the salaries of judicial workers, and he succeeded in that regard. Now, Afam Osigwe has collected the baton from him, and he too is fighting social justice issues. He intervened, for example, in the Emansin case, and that is of very recent memory. So the expectation of the NBA of the future is that it will be an association that will be a strong pillar in civil society, fighting for rights and fighting for social justice. In the Emansin case, Comfort Emansin, the NBA even declared that it will fight pro bono for the rights of Mr. Emansin. So all of this is on all fours with, the advice of the Sultan of Sokoto. The issues are many. I just want to take them in seriatim. Now, the other issue is about NUPRC, NMPC, FAC allocation, and FIRS, putting more money into the collective pot. Well, it is good news if that is true. It is good news if it is indeed true that the federal government has been able to collect 1.49 trillion in terms of arrears owed by all these agencies, NUPRC, NMPC, FIRS, and others. Now, the main issue here is about federal government revenue. What they have collected will boost revenue. It means that there will be more money, more revenue at the federal, state, and local council levels. And we hope, our hope is that that money collected as distributable pool will be used for the purpose of development, and the effect will be felt by the people. But what it says, in my view, is also about the performance of the Buhari administration. Under the Buhari administration, everybody was just doing what they liked. They were all looking for ways to hide money, to steal money. So what the Tinubu administration is doing is about transparency and accountability. And I've seen a commentary saying that, in fact, we have collected back 1.49 trillion since January, but that there's still more money hidden within the system. And that was part of the error of the incompetence of the Buhari administration, where, government enterprises, departments of states, revenue-generating agencies resorted to self-help. So to the extent that the Tinubu administration is trying to correct that, I think it's a very good development. However, I hope that special attention will be paid to transaction costs, because many of these agencies and departments of government, they also have what they call transaction costs. So if we collect all of this from them and they have remitted, I hope the budgetary allocations to those departments and government enterprises will be retained so that we will not have excuses in terms of performance. Now, the topics are many, I don't know. But okay, let me deal with the
AGC and
Atiku Abubakar topic. Now, Professor Olateju was the name of the gentleman who represented the ADC at the defection of PDP chieftains in Lagos. Over 5,000 of them were said to have defected over the weekend, received by Rauf Aregbesola comrade, diffusing, potting into the fold of the ADC. Now, on that occasion, there were principal people, Ashurubi, Mr. Adams, Mr. Tunji Shele, Captain Tunji Shele, all of them saying they have left the PDP, they are moving into the EDC. Now, Olateju speaking at that occasion, representing Atiku Abubakar, then said, well, Atiku Abubakar is not desperate, it's not as if he wants to be president at all costs, but there has now been a rebuttal. Atiku Abubakar, speaking from his other country, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is on record as having said no. In fact, in 2027, ADC will shock the world because he is determined to take power from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and that he will run. Nobody should go and say that he will not run. And that Professor Olateju saying he is not desperate, he will not run at all costs. Atiku more or less is saying he will run at all costs. So you see, there is some kind of, chemistry, mathematics about this 2027. And we have not seen the end of it. It's an evolving story. It's a developing story. After all, over the weekend, President Obasanjo was quoted by Leadership newspaper as preparing to publish a book very soon, Nigeria, Past and Present, in which he said, according to Leadership, I'm not the one saying so, Leadership says that President Obasanjo says that President Buhari is the most incompetent person that ever showed up in the presidency of Nigeria, and that President Tinubu is following very closely. So in other words, in that book, President Obasanjo is going to write off President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So all of these things will affect the calculations, as we move towards 2027. And there's also the Jonathan question. In Kanu, on Sunday, I think it was yesterday, one Dr. Kiari, leading a group, said that, in fact, bring back our good luck. That this bad luck of poverty and debt servicing is too much. They want their bad luck back. So it's a very... They want their good luck back. So it's a very fluid situation as we look at this developing story. So Atiku saying he wants to come back. Well, Dr. Kiari of the Bring Back Our Good Luck group in Kano that met at the Aminu Kano Center yesterday said that Atiku Abubakar and every other person, Peter Obi, Kwankwanso, they should all go and sempe. That's not an English word. They should all just give up and allow President Jonathan to lead, the struggle against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But what I don't understand is this construction of Nigerian politics in personal terms, in these Manichaean terms. It didn't help us previously. I don't see how it will help us this time.
All right, let me start with the ADC story and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar now confirming that he will throw his hat in the ring. So perish any thoughts or doubts that he would not perhaps be vying for the ticket of the ADC, newly formed coalition of the ADC. He said he will do so. Also, he's also mentioned that the ADC will shock the world in 2027, and they are building a very powerful coalition. And that's, fair enough statement. In fact, they want to position themselves as the third force in the 2027 elections, taking the position of the Labour Party, which acted in that role in the 2023 elections. To what extent would they succeed in their quest for taking on the #1 seat in Nigeria? Well, a few things I've just put under the many obstacles of the ADC. I am of the firm belief that for a vibrant democracy, we need opposition parties that would be thriving and can really give the incumbent a run for their money in order to avoid complacency. And so, as much as possible, let us encourage more parties to emerge, and if possible, if anyone is willing to take on the current president, let it be so. But the most important thing is, at the end of the day, the people get to decide amongst the many candidates presented before them who they want to lead them come 2027. The first obstacle for the ADC, which is very clear, very obvious, is the battle for the ticket in itself. Who will emerge as the presidential flag bearer of the ADC? I say that because we saw what happened with the PDP in the last election. And this fight, internal wrangling for what the zoning formula, who emerged as the presidential candidate bearer, cost them perhaps the elections in the last cycle. And we saw how the internal fightings have not just weakened the PDP, but almost disseminating the party or decimating the party completely as we speak. Is ADC, as a young infant party, going to face the same challenge? Because we have different camps coming together to form a party. We have those who are in Camp Atiku, we have those who are in Camp Obi, we have those who are in Camp Amechi, and other camps that might emerge in the nearest future. Now, if one person then emerges as a presidential flag bearer of the party, would the other power heavyweights be willing to throw their weight behind this one candidate to have a chance at the polls in 2027? This is a big question for them to answer. That's obstacle number one. Obstacle number two, it's a race against time, if we're being honest. The incumbent party, aside from having the advantage of the incumbency factor, has also been working tirelessly almost immediately as soon as they got into power, into office. And so they have been, all the groundwork, mobilization, network, they've been doing all this. So the ADC, like I mentioned, is in its infancy. And already we are hearing stories coming out from it. In fact, someone described them as a press releasing party. That's not strong enough if they are going to battle the APC come 2027. That's one of the obstacles. So some of the things that they must go to the drawing board, which I'm sure perhaps they're already aware of, or to highlight it again, if they are going to shock the world indeed in 2027, these are some of the things that was put into play. Something else that another big obstacle for them is INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission. We saw what's happened in terms of confidence in INEC's ability to run a free and fair election. And so let's assume that presidential party ticket has been gotten, they've been able to get their acts together, they are united, they come with one voice. When it comes to the polls, may INEC not happen to them in the way that we have seen in the previous cycles of election. What Nigerians have pushed for again and again is even more electoral reform to ensure that our Electoral Act of 2022 is stronger in order to enable Nigerians have more confidence in the process of election come 2027. Because no matter how strong a party is, as we saw in 2023, if INEC is not able to assure Nigerians of a free and fair election, it would be an obstacle not just to the ADC, but all other parties who are in opposition. And so we're hoping that the independence, the I in INEC, would truly be I come 2027. Another opposition, of course, and I'll tie this in with the story from the NBA general conference in Enugu taking place currently, which is the judiciary. Oftentimes we say that during election cycles, the judiciary is on trial. We've seen what's happened in previous elections where by some magic, as it were, a candidate who had no bearing close to the winning line then emerges as winner. Or we see cases thrown out on grounds of technicalities. Therefore, after passing the hurdle of INEC, the judiciary is supposed to come in to step in where there are issues around contests for the viability of an election. If the judiciary, as what the call as made by the Sultan of Sokoto, which I applaud, I think it's time for even royal fathers, traditional leaders to begin to speak up about the state of our nation and the state of our judiciary. Then they also have that obstacle on their hands. All eyes on the judiciary, as we saw in 2023. Now, finally, the final point, because of our time, I want to talk about Mr. Julius Malema, who I think is a fine choice in terms of a speaker. It's when we talk about Africa coming together, we must be able to exchange thoughts and ideas and have invitations such as this to build a stronger nation. We've already highlighted some of the key points of his speech. I mean, talking about going back down memory lane, talking about Nigeria's impact and influence on the enterprise, but very importantly, his call for a united Africa. Now, Africa must make up its mind as to what it wants to push for. Is it a system like the European Union, whereby European countries come together and they do have one currency, the euro, and are able to share some policies and ideas together? Or like what was pushing for, something more like the United States of America, where it's one country and there's one president, which he asked for. That is debatable, and hopefully in the course of today's show we can talk about it further, whereby Africa comes under one nation, one president, one currency, and it's like the United States of America. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar yesterday vowed that despite efforts by the ruling All Progressives Congress to ridicule and play down the current momentum in the African Democratic Congress ADC, the coalition will shock the world in the 2027 presidential election. Atiku also laid to rest insinuations that he might not contest the presidential poll 2 years from now, stressing that he will run for the nation's top job in the next election cycle. Atiku, until recently a prominent figure in the People's Democratic Party, has often sought broad coalitions to strengthen his presidential bids. In that light, the ADC, a hitherto relatively smaller party, has brought together some heavyweight politicians, positioning itself as a third force alternative outside the dominance of the APC and PDP. However, apart from Atiku, ex-Anambra Governor Peter Obi and former Rivers Governor Rotimi Amaechi have made public their intentions to jostle for the ADC's presidential ticket as a part of a coalition of opposition figures seeking to challenge President Bola Tinubu at the polls in 2027. While the former vice president has positioned himself as the most experienced hand, Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, has insisted he will not play a secondary role to anyone. Also, Amaechi, a former Minister of Transportation, has hinted on plans to throw his hat into the ring. Atiku's statement is also coming as the presidency has often seized every opportunity to ridicule the ADC, claiming that the coalition only exists on paper and portraying it as inconsequential as well as lacking real electoral weight. In other news, Nigeria's Federation account received a major inflow of 1.49 trillion naira in the first half of 2025 from arrears reconciled and paid by the country's revenue-generating agencies. Fresh data from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC, has shown. A report by the FAC Post-Mortem Subcommittee, which reviews remittances from key agencies, indicated that the cumulative inflows into the Federation accounts between January and June 2025 came from reconciled outstanding arrears previously owed by key agencies. This included the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and other statutory bodies. Moving away from that, we go on to the 2025 Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association, which kicked off with a call by the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Siad Abubakar, for the reform of the Nigerian justice system. The Sultan, who was the chairman of the occasion and described the theme of the conference, Stand Out, Stand Tall, as apt, said judicial reforms in the country were long overdue. The keynote speaker and founder of South Africa's economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, went down memory lane discussing issues bedeviling Africa. Malema urged Nigeria and South Africa to strengthen the bonds between them. He warned African countries against unnecessary borrowing of money from Bretton Woods institutions like the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, saying such borrowings constitute a debt trap. He praised Nigeria's support for South Africa's anti-apartheid struggles and urged closer economic ties between both countries.
Nigeria is not just another African country to us. It is a comrade nation, one that stood firmly by our side during our darkest hour. When South Africa was shackled by apartheid, when our people were murdered, imprisoned, and denied basic humanity, Nigeria rose as a giant for justice, placing South Africa squarely at the center of its foreign policy. This bond between South Africa and Nigeria must be carried forward into the present, not just in political sentiment, but in concrete economic collaboration. Both our nations stand as giants of the continent. South Africa, with its industrial base, mining capacity, and advanced financial system. Nigeria, with its vast population, vibrant entrepreneurial spirit, oil and gas resources, and cultural dynamism that has captured the imagination of the world. Together, we hold the keys to Africa's industrialization and economic independence.
By this theme, you wish to deliver on the expectations of society on your professional mandate. This is spot on. Today, justice is increasingly becoming purchasable commodity, and the poor are becoming victims of miscarriage of justice, while the rich commit all matters of crime and walk the streets scot-free.
The theme is more than a slogan. It is a charge to stand out, to be visible, not for show, but for service, excellence, resilience, dedication, focus, perseverance, and service to prosper. To stand tall is to uphold dignity, integrity, and honor, even when the odds are stacked high and difficult decisions must be made in the best interest of the legal profession and the country. Standing tall means being unbending in our defense of the rule of law, equity and justice, and being principled in the face of power and unwavering in our pursuit of national progress. We must have the courage of conviction in moments where silence would otherwise be more comfortable. To build a strong and economically viable nation, sacrifice will routinely be required of individual citizens. We must do this when others are mediocre. This is a call we must embrace.
I prefer to see us as partners with a shared purpose, ensuring justice, strengthening democracy, and building a society where the law protects every citizen. That is the bond that unites us.
And finally, some positive news. Premium Trust Bank is delighted to announce that it has met the 200 billion naira minimum capital requirement for national commercial banks well ahead of March 2026 deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria through a successful capital raise of rights issue and private placement offerings as part of the ongoing banking sector recapitalization exercise. This achievement, which has received CBN's approval, not only underscores the bank's exceptional financial strength, but also positions it as a dominant player in the Nigerian banking industry, further solidifying its place as the fastest growing bank in Nigeria. Dr. Emmanuel Emefienim, CON, FCIB, Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Premium Trust Bank expressed, and I quote, "Exceeding the 200 billion naira capital requirement is a defining moment in the bank's journey. This achievement, coming in just 3 years of the bank's existence, is a reflection of our superior financial performance since inception, unwavering commitment to operational excellence, and the trust reposed in us by our shareholders, customers, and regulators. As Nigeria's fastest growing bank, we are uniquely positioned to not only lead the sector, but to continue delivering outstanding value and growth for our stakeholders."
Let me conclude this session with this headline. Somebody is telling Nigerians to go and register. INEC has opened the portal for registration. So let me read exactly what this person said. She said, "Go and register to vote. These are the online pre-registration statistics from INEC. Look at Southwest number. They are not playing. Elections are no joke. Look at figures by state and see where your state falls in seriousness. Southeast, please get better organized. Please organize better." That's what Southeast. So this person had to, this thing will soon end though. It will soon end on the 20. They started on the 28th. I don't understand this. They wrote here from 18 to 24th. And today is already 25th. So the question remains, did people even register? Did people register? This thing was not well sounded. Now, when you look at it, you see the figures. Like this person said that the Southwest is not playing. Many of the states in the Southwest did their registration very well. You look at Ekiti registered badly. You look at Kaduna also did well. Kogi did well. Lagos did so well. Lagos did so well, and I think Lagos is the highest here. And then you have like Ogun did well. Oshun did well. These are mostly southwest, Then Yobe did well. And then you come to other states like Kebbi also did well. Kaduna, I've mentioned that before. Okay, let's take a look at some of the states from the southeast because I can't really see them here. Like you have Abia. Abia has 0.06%. And then you go to Ebonyi, 0.01%. And they go to Enugu, 0.04%. Hey, go to Imo, 0.03%. And then, honestly, you find out that the number of people who did registration for this INEC something, When you gather all the Southeast, it's not even up to 1/4, 1/3, 1/5 of what registered in Lagos. Only Lagos alone registered 222,000 persons. The Southeast put together, they don't even get 50K persons. They don't even get 10K. I mean, like Imo has 400 and something, Enugu has 400 and something. Is there something wrong in this registration? I'm just wondering. And I think INEC, this week one. Anyway, there's a lot to be done, honestly, going by what I'm seeing here. The first week, 18th to 24th, you know, you can see that the Southeast is not even minding the forthcoming election, while Lagos is having a whole lot of new voters. Anyway, let me take you through some of the reactions from Nigeria. It's really so sad that people are not even taking this election seriously. Like Peter Obi has come out to plead with Nigerians to go and register. Your vote is your power, not tomorrow now. You start complaining, go and register, so that's the only way we can secure. No matter the level of campaign, if you know you have not registered, it will make no sense. This person say it's not real because even Anambra that's about to have their election is not here. Another person said their CVR is on hold because of election. Okay. Then this person said, INEC, where is Nigeria? Or have you lot started your mago? Another person said Anambra CVR is on hold because of elections. This person said they already omitted Anambra. Anambra has 66,000 new voters already. Are you sure? This person said Anambra is on hold. Another person said, where is Anambra? Anambra is on hold. So, but the most interesting information here is that the southeastern states are not really doing well when it comes to this new registration. You know, the southeastern states. This person said, I'm disappointed in you. You believe that these figures are real. You have been moving wild lately. You know, this thing was posted by Nnamdi Kanu. We don't even know where she belongs to this time, you know. I don't know why she dumped Peter Obi, but nevertheless, we saw that Peter Obi won the last election. This one says, I can't believe this to be real. Another person, you think this figure is organic? So I'm thinking something fishy is happening because we've not even seen people registering in Lagos. How come they already have this figure? You know, it's really so worrisome that they are telling us that Lagos has. They've already started manipulating the system. You know, the system is already being manipulated. You can't tell us that APC strongholds are having the highest registration. We've not even seen them. Look at Osun State. You know, 393,000. Yobe, Lagos. Osun State is even more than Lagos. How? Ogun, Niger, 24. I mean, the number of people that have registered. Then when you come to the southeast, it's not even up to 500. Ebonyi is not even up to 500. Ebonyi is not even up to 300. And then, let me check. Enugu, not up to 500. Imo, not up to 500. I think something fishy is really happening. Nigerians really need to put their eyes on this. Something fishy is already happening. You know? The election has not come, but something fishy is happening, you know. Anyway, I don't know what you make of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And if you've not registered or you want to change your location or your PVC has been stolen, please go and register. I think the portal is still open because this is just the first week that we're analyzing. But it looks like something fishy is really happening, honestly. Anyway, sorry, anyway, I just hope that some of these things are corrected. Let it not be that they are just inflating prices. So let it not be not prices, numbers, you know. Let it not be that they are just increasing numbers without showing the real thing. They are showing just numbers. How can you tell us that Osun State has 339,000 newly registered voters while Southeast has 500? I mean, most states in the Southeast are not even up to 500 per state. Now, wow. I just hope something is done about this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.